Hello and many thanks for joining us on another special edition of Building Materials Market. On today's special edition of the program, we'll be looking among other things Nigerian paint companies as well as the high cost of building materials. And joining me to discuss all that is the Managing Director and CEO of Sahara Paint Company, Mr. Okolo Emmanuel. Thank you so much, sir, for taking the time to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, is a normal thing. I mean, for everybody can understand that we cannot have a complete house without a paint. I mean, for every person you see in a building sitting there, which we normally call it uncompleted buildings without a paint, it has to be a situation. Yes. So, how has the situation been? I mean, you can take us to the back when was it like this as it started? When it's something we believe you can.
You know, the economic crisis in this country cuts across all the spheres of the economy, and the paint and coating industry is not isolated and insulated from the rascality of the economic crisis. Unfortunately, 95% of the paint constituents is import dependent, and because it is import dependent, the inflationary trend, the volatile foreign exchange rate, then the removal of the fuel subsidy has hit hard on us and the building materials in general. Of course, previously, our revenue, the sales volume, with my home to the bank regularly. The operational cost was at its lowest ebb. That's the fuel, the gas, everything was cheap to buy and do your business. But unfortunately, this time around, it is no more the same. The sales volume in the paint industry where I come from has gone down so much. The profit margin has gone down so much. The operational cost has gone up so much. Even the paint potential, the paint manufacturing potential of creating jobs and contributing to the GDP, the thing has dwindled. In Sahara Paint Company, we were able to take a lot of youths out of the street. But because of the economic crisis, we have cut the employment, the factory workers by half. Many of them are on the watch and see list, waiting for when things are going to improve. Now, let me talk about, in fact, a lot of myriad of problems. I want to talk about the quality of products, counterfeits, flooding the markets. You know, in paint manufacturing, that's what we call PVC and CPVC. The pigment volume concentration, though this calculation is only known for the big boys in the paint industry. The quacks, they don't know anything about it. So the PVC is calculated in percentage, and this is a parameter to know the quality of a paint. The lower the percentage, the better the quality of the paint. So now if you go to the market now, you know, because of the high cost of materials, they have flooded the market with counterfeit paint products. Do you understand me? But you know, many of our people, they are novice in paint, quality of paint. What they mean is that this one is cheap, this one is thick, let me just buy and go. But when you buy and go, what you're going to see in the quality of the paint is not something you're going to like. There will be no value for your money, because it will start to chalk. You may paint the paint about 3-4 coats and you'll be disappointed by the output. Do you understand me? Now, the distribution costs, the transportation costs, maybe you have to buy your raw material from point A to point B. Even the freight costs is very, very expensive. So if you bring, and the scarcity quality of the raw materials, that's another thing that is mind-boggling. For instance, we have been looking for the empty buckets now to package our paint products. They are not available, but in the past, even the ordinary gallons, we call the 4-liter gallons, they are not there since last year till now. And this is affecting our business so much. A lot of people now, they requested for paint from Sahara Paint company, but we don't have the containers to put these things. And this is as a result of the inflationary trend. Do you understand me? Then the volatile forest exchange. Some of the manufacturing companies, the plastic companies, they cannot afford to produce buckets. And once this is done, if there's no bucket, there's no containers, there's no paint industry, we go into extinction. Because you cannot manufacture the paint and give to your people to drink. Do you understand me? So this is as a result of the economic crisis.
I think, yes, you have mentioned a lot of things that are worth taking time to look at.
Yeah.
You made mention of cutting down staff when it comes to production.
Yeah.
You made mention of counterfeit. A lot of them happen at the market.
Yeah.
And part of the problems we're having when it comes to reducing this staff, which they were solely depending on to earning to make a living, their family and everything. And because of government policies, you have to cut it down. Yes. Because for people that have worked under you for many years, I mean, you are even saying you are putting them on the wet list. Yes. So for you to even say, put them on the wet list, you are expecting maybe things might get better.
Yes.
Let's look at the bigger picture of this whole problem. What, to you, the genesis, according to many Nigerians, started when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in and removed fuel subsidy.
Yes. Yes.
But do you also share the belief?
Yes, exactly. Because, you know, before then, I've told you, the business has been very crazy.
Exactly, you said that.
You understand me? But immediately, the president stepped in and removed the fuel subsidy. This is the genesis of our problem. And I was even thinking that maybe with time, the problem that was trying to come up then will just go down. But everything just took a funny shape and grew to the extent that even some of us who are into the paint businesses, some of us are shutting down and trying to think of an alternative route to make ends meet. Do you understand?
Exactly. Now look at this. We were having the issue of insecurity when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office. Yeah. Poverty was also bad as at the time, but not as bad as it is. I mean, for many Nigerians will say during former President Buhari administration, they can be able to eat three times
a day.
At least. But today is even a problem. There are reported cases that people are dying of hunger and all of that. Now, with all the problems the removal of fuel subsidy brought in this country, would you say that while President Bola Tinubu was saying that removing fuel subsidy was a way to drive the economy forward, but do you see it that way?
My brother, you can, even you are a human being like me, you can see that we are having the opposite. Do you understand me? Because the removing of that fuel subsidy now, you can see the impact. Do you understand me? At least I'm a paint maker. At least the negative impact of it is so bad that I'm even thinking of whether I'm going to change my business or not. Do you understand me? Down to my workers who I've been with these guys for a very long time, but now I cannot afford to pay them because the volume of sales we are having now is too bad. The profit margin is too bad. In fact, the operational cost is taking up almost the whole profit we make from the little supplies we make. So it is not, the opposite is what we're having now.
We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we'll continue on that.
Thank you very much.
Our viewers, thank you so much for still being with us. We're on a conversation inside a building materials market. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the conversation continues. Do stay with us. Our viewers, thank you so much for still being with us, and for those joining us now, this is building materials market, and on today's program we've been deliberating on the high cost of building materials, a lot of issues that comes with that, and we've been deliberating that with the managing director and CEO Sahara Paint company, Mr. Okolo Emmanuel. Thank you so much, sir, for still being with us. Yes, we're talking about counterfeiters. I mean,
yes,
but
yes.
What I'm also particularly interested in is that what created this counterfeiters, because I don't believe that they just walk off and said they want to go into it. I was there at time, is it the government policies that are creating more of these counterfeiters, even though I know in every country we can have bad eggs no matter how right things are going. But the more of counterfeiters we're having in terms of paint manufacturing and all of that, it's the government policies playing a key role there.
Yes, as I've told you, most of the paint constituents, they are import dependent.
Yeah, 95% you said.
Do you understand? 95%. So all these things, some of them are very, very scarce. Do you understand me? Then coupled with inflation and the exchange rate, which is very high. So now the fuel subsidy removal, when they bring in a raw material, the importer will tell you the price of what he has brought in. Remember, he incurs some debt or some costs to bring it. I was surprised when they sent me a text message about the cost of the raw materials we buy in the market. If I'm not the type that has the integrity, I have respect for integrity. If I were the type that go for substandard products, this is enough to push me to go for something lesser and add in my paint products and bring out the paint product. So the cost of the raw materials is overwhelming. Do you understand me? But you cannot keep food away from people's table. People must have to eat. So what they do is to cut corners. They keep aside whatever you call standard or quality to go and look for something to eat. And this is where they come to compromise, because the rising cost of raw materials has made a lot of people to go that way.
Exactly. Okay. Another thing to also look at is the issue of operational costs. Of course, you talked about importing and all of that, but these operational costs, one we can be able to solve within the country, in terms of power. You talk about in terms of whatever how you feel is affecting you. What are the major issues that you feel can be handled domestically by our own government, but are not handling it?
See, let me tell you, sir. You see, power is, in fact, the overall master in production. If you don't have power, you are going nowhere. Do you understand me? So, I wish the government can invest in electricity power supply that is very stable. This is going to bring down the cost of production, because I know how much I spend in fuel and gas to power my generating set to make my production. It is very, very overwhelming. So if assuming that the government can go into invest more on electricity, generating power supplies, do you understand me? Even if it entails diverging it, allowing other people to come into electricity production and generation and transmission, is going to go a long way to bring down our operational costs. Do you understand? Because without that, and if things continue the way it is going, we continue to spend money more money on fuel, gas, and energy. My brother, things will not come down the way we're expecting it very soon.
Do you feel that with the all problems of cutting down staff, because I do believe in this market, you're not the only one cutting down staff.
Yes,
when you look at it, and you're not the only one. You are even trying to find a way to sustain the business.
Yes.
Others where they find it difficult to sustain the business, they close shop. I mean, in terms of construction trouble, we have seen it shutting down site and a lot of that. And these are the same people that we have working on these organizations that have been relieved to go, will come back looking for alternatives. Some of them will be able to find alternatives. Some of them will go back to add to the existing menace of insecurity we are having in this country.
Exactly.
Do you feel that the government are the one creating the problems they are trying to solve at the center?
Yes, as I've told you, sir. Let the government, first of all, when we talk about industrialization, local production, I think this is a very wonderful key to our problem. Do you understand me? So, if the government, as I've told you, can invest in that electricity, industrialization, that's local production, then the import barriers, they have to either abate it or remove it entirely and create that enabling environment for businesses to thrive and for investors to come in. If not, they will be compounding the problems. Do you understand me? Because like in this my business now, like those guys that are kept on at least I've told bros go and sit down and wait. If they go home to the street where I picked them and start doing a lot of things to give headache to the society, it's not going to be a good news to me or to the society.
Exactly.
So the government, in fact, the whole solution to the problem lies in their table. Do you understand? It lies in their table. If they're able to abide by those things I've told you, sir, I think the menace in the society will come down very, very much.
It's very important, what you are saying, because when you look at it, you on the other hand, you're not even saying let the government absorb them and give them work. What you are asking is let the government provide the enabling environment so that you can help the government give them
very
work.
Simple, sir. Let me tell you, sir. You see, when I'm talking about, I'm very passionate about industrialization and local production. The SMEs, the MSMEs, the government should open their arms and support us. We are enough to solve the problem of this country by creating the necessary job. If only me can employ like 10, 15 guys from the street, but multiply by other entrepreneurs who have the same capacity to employ, maybe if we are 1,000 or 1 million times by 15. Have we not been able to absorb the youths who are roaming the streets?
Most definitely.
Do you understand me? So what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Another big issue is the fact that 95% of these products, the mixtures and all of that, we're importing them into the country.
Yes.
Isn't it a big shame in a country where they say we have a natural resource?
I'm telling you, my brother, it's a very big shame. And that is why I am, advising the government to step in both in the short term and in the long run. In the short term, let them remove the import barriers, as I've said, so that those who have the heart and the mind to import, let them bring it in at a very good rate, so that we'll be able to buy and do our production, and the prices of everything will be very cheap. Then, on the long run, let the federal government step into industrialization. Let them start to produce
These mixtures.
These additives. Because the additives in paint production, there's no big deal. The government can do that.
We even have them. We have all the materials we need in the country to make them.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's just a matter of having the political will to go into industrialization. There are so many, like this titanium dioxide is a pigment that is responsible for the for coloration. Even if the federal government can only invest in that, and maybe the thickening agent or the coalescing agent, All these things are very, the federal government can do that. Open the industries. And one good thing about all these things is that when we're talking about opening the industries, remember they are creating jobs. Do you understand me? They are creating jobs, and the importation will go down, and our foreign reserve will come up. Because some other African countries, when they see that maybe in the Nigerian government we have embarked on this kind of robust industrialization, they'll be coming here to buy our raw materials and go to their country and do and embark on the production of the paint. So we can go on and on to tell you the implications and why it is good that the federal government should come in and establish those industries that and establish industries that produce the things, the raw materials we use in our paint production, instead of us going there to import it.
I think for many years since we assumed democracy or independence, we have been doing deciding our destiny, our so-called destiny. Because when we talk about, even within Nigeria, we always say there are cabals. Some say it's just excuse for ignorance, that they are not willing to do the job, so they will keep bringing up cabals and all of this issue where they fail to deliver and all of that. I think we have capable hands when it comes to human resources. I mean, a lot of Nigerians are doing well, fantastically okay in all other countries. But when you come here, we have the Ministry of Power, we have in charge of industries, we have this and all of that. But when you look at all the agencies, me sitting here with you, as somebody who is into all this manufacturing, dealing with Ministry of Industry and everything, I ask you, what are they doing to make sure you have an enabling environment for you to work? Let's not put it, we know that Ministry of Industry and all of that, they are attached to federal government, so we mention federal government. But when we are talking about space, let's talk about the ministry itself. Since when you have been into this business, what are the things you have seen in terms of reducing the imports of all these mixtures and additives you are talking about? What are the visible things would you say, okay, these are the things they have done to make sure they can work?
My brother, I think I have to be very careful in some of my own trances. Do you understand me? Because for me personally, I don't know of others, I don't think I've been able to benefit from none of those ministries, unless it is something that is going to come in future. But because of this our interview, they may decide to sit up. Do you understand me? Or if there's anything they have been doing, maybe I've not been privileged to hear about it, or maybe I've not been privileged to know somebody that knows about it.
We are living in a different world.
So do you understand me?
Yes,
because we try to do things on our own. We don't hope on anybody to come and do it for us. There's a country where people, that there are certain things you cannot do on your own. And you go to somewhere and they will help you to do that. Do you understand me? There's something I wanted to talk about, incentives. Do you understand me? Interventions. So I've not, as I've told you, I've not been able to get any loan or grants or interventions. Do you understand me? So I'm just on my own barefootedly, single-handedly, just a man on my own. So and that is why I say, let me help the government by at least taking some use out of the street in my industry.
And now they're even making it difficult for you to sustain.
And that is what, exactly, my brother. Yes.
Well, Mr. Okolo Emmanuel is the CEO and the Managing Director of Sahara Paint Company Limited here in Nigeria, and hoping to also go international. Hopefully. We really thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the program, and we hope to see you again. Maybe perhaps by then things got better.
Thank you. That's just a little addition to what I want to say. This is a Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. I think these people, they are going to be very good to us, the paint manufacturers, if the federal government can increase the budgetary allocation to them. Because when we flood the place with a lot of projects, bros, automatically we are creating jobs and employment. A lot of artisans are there. So when, like some of my painters, they'll be calling me, "Okay, we need food, we need this, we need work." I tell them, bros, you pray that let there be a lot of work to come. So I think if the real estate developers, the people who are into the built environment, and the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, if there's going to be a collaboration, then the federal government allocate more funds to them to flood everywhere with projects. My brother, there are a lot of, the economic multiplier effect of it, we cannot count it all. It's going to be very great.
Yeah, especially on this last insight, I most sincerely thank you. I mean, it's a wonderful tech. Thank you so much. Well, to remind our viewers again, Mr. Okolo Emmanuel is the Managing Director and CEO Sahara Paint Company. We thank him so much for his time and his wonderful insight. My name is Abdurrahman Omar, the host on Building Materials Market. Thank you so much for being with us throughout the beginning and to the end of the program. We hope to see you next time.
Thank you very much.